This is my ranking of every Mario Party 6 minigame. Same rules apply. This is purely my opinion and no one else's. I'm speaking only for myself and concept is important. And again, difficulty, replayability, you know the spiel. That's all for the intro, so let's go! 83. Strawberry Short Fuse. The players are in a kitchen with 10 ukikis, each with a covered platter. 5 of them will have a slice of strawberry shortcake, while the other 5 will have bombs, and the players take turns picking one at a time. And if they pick one with cake, they're safe, but if they pick one with a bomb, they're out, and the last player standing wins. However, at the beginning, the ukikis shuffle so fast, it's next to impossible to keep track of even a few of them, let alone all of them. And bonus, it's a battle minigame. Luck-based battle minigames? Those things are total crap. They suck in plain English. 82. Seer Terror. You just choose and pull a rope. And that's all. Why, you may ask? Well, to make something happen. That something could be either a good thing, like getting coins or an item, or a bad thing, like something falling on you, which could make you lose coins or something. That's it. That's the whole minigame. Bowser being a fortune teller? Pretty cool concept, I guess. But this is just super short, boring, and worst of all, luck-based. 81. Pitfall. Each player must pick one of 3 ropes and then swing and jump from it, hoping there will be a platform for them to land on. If there is, they win, and if not, they lose. However, there's only one platform, and I did say hoping, so yeah, luck-based. And Mikoro 101, luck-based minigames are the bane of my existence, and along with that, it's super boring and very unimmersive with an uninteresting concept. 80. Trick or Tree. You're in a dark, dreary forest with 4 trees of different heights. These trees will shuffle around, then you have to pick one to climb up. The one who picks the tallest tree wins. Yep, this one's luck-based too. I guess it's conceptually a little more interesting than Seer Terror and Pitfall, but I'm just splitting hairs here. Luck-based games can go luck themselves. 79. Same as lame. Each round, the players must push one of 4 buttons, and if no other players pick the same button as them, they'll score 1 point, and the first player to score 3 points wins. Obviously, this one is luck-based, but not only that, it's also really simplistic and kind of boring too, topped off with an uninteresting concept. You just push a button and pray no one else presses that one. That's not fun at all. Same as lame as lame. 78. Pier Factor. Oh, DK's just hanging around again. Each player must get inside a barrel, then roll along across a pier, hoping to get as many bananas as possible, because you'll get 1 coin for each one you do. But the problem is, the pier has many different paths and turns, some of which have more bananas than others. So basically, it comes down to luck. What the luck is with all these luck-faced luck games? 77. Trapeze Artist. All 4 players are in an arena with several Goombas, and must wait for as many of them as possible to walk under their cage traps, then drop them before time expires. The more Goombas they trap, the more points they'll score, and the player with the most points at the end wins. You just have to hope more Goombas will enter your line of fire than that of your opponents, and since there's no guarantee this'll happen, it ultimately comes down to luck, and it doesn't help that you only have 1 shot. 76. Freeze Frame. The players are in a town and each have their own camera and must wait for Goombas to appear, then snap a picture of them before time expires. The more enemies in their picture, the more points they'll score, and the player with the most points at the end wins. Just like in Trapeze Artist, you just have to hope more Goombas will enter your line of fire than that of your opponents. And since there's no guarantee this'll happen, it ultimately comes down to luck, and it doesn't help that you only have 1 shot. Suffice it to say, luck equals f***ed. 75. Sumo of Dumo. Both players are driving cars on a small platform and must try to push each other off. All the while, a thwomp will keep hitting the ground, which will make the platform slowly collapse piece by piece, leaving the players with a smaller playing field. The last player driving wins. This one's concept isn't bad at all, but what kills it for me are the controls. To move, players must use both the joysticks at once, and no buttons, which feels kind of awkward. Also, the platform starts off too small for my liking. So when all is said and done, Sumo of Dumo is just unfun. 74. Treasure Trawlers. Each player has their own crane boat, I think that's what they're called, which they must ride around in search of buried treasure. When you're near one, your controller will rumble, and the player who finds the most in the time limit wins. I wouldn't say this one's bad, just kind of slow-paced, and on top of that, it has no special concept. It does make good use of the GameCube's rumble feature. I'll stop reaching now. 73. Some Things Amiss. You're in a dark, dreary forest covered by a dark haze. Hiding in said haze are gemstones, which you have to find. The first one to find 3 wins. This one can kind of be seen as a shorter, dual version of Barrel Baron from Mario Party 4. Using the GameCube's rumble feature, like in Treasure Trawlers, you have to find hidden items. But I like this one a little better because, again, dual, and bonus, the trees in the backgrounds can help you out. But overall, I find it just kinda eh. 72. Blockstar. Just hear me out, please! In this puzzle minigame, you have to clear out blocks by matching them with several of the same color. You'll score points each time you do so, and if your stack gets too tall, the minigame is over. I normally like clearing out blocks, but here you do so by moving them from the bottom up, and this gimmick kind of takes all the fun out of it for me. I know a lot of people really like this one, but if you ask me, it's super overrated. 71. Light breeze. Each player has their own fan, with which they must keep waving to activate turbines. The first team to reach maximum power wins. This one, as you can probably guess, is a masher, but it's one where you have to alternate between the left and right trigger buttons, which I think is a little better than just having to mash one. And as for the concept and teamwork aspect, those are pretty cool, I guess. I got nothing else. 70. Cannonball fun. Each player has a hovercraft with 2 cannons. Yeah, you probably know what comes next. They must shoot cannonballs at each other. For each successful hit, you'll score a point, and first to 5 points wins. Are you thinking, I thought you liked shooting games, so why do you have this one so low? It's because it controls fairly awkwardly. Moving and maneuvering feels kind of rough and slippery, for lack of a better word, which makes it difficult to aim. I'm sure I'd like this one a lot more if the controls were smoother. Gotta love it when a minigame would be much better if not for one simple flaw. 69. Throw me a bone. Each player's riding on a chain jump, which, while watching out for stone pillars, they must lure all the way to the finish line by throwing bones. The first one to get there wins. I'll admit, this one does take good timing, and the concept is both clever and original, but otherwise, I just find it kind of boring and slow-paced. And on top of that, I feel like there are too many obstacles, so it's a bit harder than it needs to be. Overall, I wouldn't say it's good or bad, somewhere in between. 68. Ray of Fright. The lone player's got 2 lasers. You guessed it, they gotta shoot them, and the team has to avoid them. If at least one team player can survive the entire time, the team wins, but if not, the lone player wins. I'll start with, this concept is awesome, but since the arena's so small and the rays can ricochet off the walls, I feel like the lone player has an unfair advantage. I'll admit, if you're the lone player, it's pretty fun, but with how unbalanced it is, in my experience at least, I can't rank it any higher than this. 67. Hyper Sniper. Each player's got a pop gun, and there'll be targets, most of which give points, but a few of which take points, so you know what to do. The player with the most points when time is up wins. Yes, you thought I loved shooting games, and to be honest, this one's not wretched, but I feel like your crosshairs move a little too slowly. If they were faster, I'm sure I'd like this minigame a lot more. Man, Mario Party 6 just can't get shooting games right, can it? 66. Black Hole Boogie. You're in outer space, and by mashing, you have to swim away from a black hole. The first player to get sucked into it loses. Yeah, just a simple masher. I do like this one's concept a good bit, and I don't have anything against mashers, but a masher's a masher. Most of the time, they don't have much to them, so sorry I don't have anything more to say about this one. Moving on. 65. Lab Rats. Here, you have to run through Professor Egad's oddly maze-like lab in search of enemies. After you find one, then the exit, you'll be able to proceed to the next floor. You want to try to get as far as you can in the time limit, shooting for a new record. I tend to like maze games, and this is just a nice and simple one, although it can drag on for a long time, which means it gets old and boring pretty fast. But even so, it's still good. I kinda like it. 64. Tally Me Banana. There are tons of barrels floating in water, which you have to keep jumping on to break open and get the bananas inside. At the end, you'll get 1 coin for each banana you grab. The gameplay here is fun, but it can also feel luck-based, since each barrel can only be jumped on once, and if you fall in the water, that's it, you're done. So, of course, that's gonna hold it back a bit, but even so, it is still fun. I definitely don't hate it. 63. Banana Shake. Each player has their own banana tree, which they must keep shaking to get bananas. And you know the drill, you get 1 coin for each banana you get. Like Tally Me Banana, this one is for sure fun, but at the same time can feel luck-based, since hammers can also fall, which if they hit you, will momentarily stun you, and they fall so fast that they're hard to see coming. So unfortunately, that's gonna hold it back, but again, it's certainly fun, so I like it. 62. Bodybuilder. Each team must build a robot by stopping their roulette with good timing. The first team to completely assemble a robot wins. Yes, this one takes good timing, and I love games that take good timing, but that's kind of the only exceptional thing about this minigame. It's pretty fun, not superbly, and its concept isn't really special, but I guess the good timing aspect, and maybe the teamwork one too, put it a bit more on my like side than my dislike side. 61. Stage Fright. The lone player's on a stage and must dodge pop gun shots from the team. If they can survive the entire time, they win, but if not, the team wins. This one's fun, I guess, maybe, but as far as 1v3s go, it just feels off somehow, but I don't really know why. It's just a generic shooting game. The friendly fire aspect is cool, and it's for sure on toe-keeping for the lone player, but for some reason, I feel like I don't like this minigame as much as I should. Oh well, some things just can't be explained. 60. Lunatics. This one's just a moon landing. That's it. To win, you have to land as close to when the timer hits 0 as possible, using a jetpack to control your descent. The player who lands the closest to when the timer ends wins. This one's kind of like a Daredevil minigame, and those tend to be pretty fun. Conceptually, it's just but again, it's fun, so I like it. It may be kind of short too, but again, it's fun, so I like it. It's also nice and simple, but again, it's fun, so I like it. But again, it's fun, so I like it. But again, it's fun, so I like it. But again, 59. Slot Trot. Each player has their own wheel, which they must keep spinning to stop on Lakitu's pictures. The first team to do so scores a point, and first to 3 points wins. This one's nice and simple, and for some reason, particularly fun. Also, it can somehow be a good challenge. Concept, kind of unique and funny, maybe? Well, you know how it goes. Some minigames are just good for a few or even one simple reason, and that includes Slot Trot. 58, Odd Card Out. This one's just like Archaeologus from 4 and Popstar Piranhas from 5. 3 cards with the same kind of enemy will appear, one of which will be different from the others. And of course, your job is to find said card. If you do so first, you'll score a point, and the first to 2 points wins. Obviously, this one takes good focus, and on top of that, it's just plain fun. Again, no significant concept here, but you know how it goes. Good concepts are just gravy. 57, Stamped by Me. Each player has 2 conveyor belts moving at different speeds, both of which have a bunch of clipboards. Using a giant stamp, you have to stamp as many as you can. You'll score 1 point for each one you do, and the player with the most when time expires wins. Yes, this one is nice and simple and just plain fun. Again, no noteworthy concept, but to compensate, it can be a good challenge, and it takes close attention. Stamped by Me, more like Champ by B. If only I could say the same for myself with my crappy sense of humor. 56, Sunday Drivers.
Driving slow on Sunday morning.
Do I even have to say anything here? You just play golf. Well, the driving part at least. Each player has their own Shy Guy with a sign, which he'll keep raising. The sign will have a button on it, and of course you want to hit that button ASAP. When you do, you'll drive your golf ball, aka score a point, and the first 1 to 10 points wins. Once again, this one takes good focus, is fun and nice and simple, and lacks any conceptual significance. Because, you know, it's just golf. When am I gonna get to say something different? 55, Tricky Tires. Each player's driving their own race car across a track full of whomps and thwomps. You have to carefully maneuver around them, and if you cross the finish line first, you win. Like in Sumo of Dumo, to move, players must use both the joysticks at once, and no buttons, which, again, feels kind of awkward. But here, it's not quite as bad, because now you have a set direction to go in. And, you know, racing games. Tricky Tires does the trick. 54, Light Up My Night. You're in a dark maze in which you must run around in search of candles. Once you find one, you have to light it with your torch, and the first player to light 5 wins. I see this one as a better Lab Rats. Don't hear me wrong, Lab Rats is good, but I prefer this one because, yes, it is still a limited view maze game, but in this context, I prefer darkness over a zoomed-in camera, and that's not all. Its concept is more interesting, it won't drag on forever, and it's a duel instead of a solo. Why does that matter? You know how it goes. Mini-games tends to be more fun with more players. The more the merrier. 53, Snowbrawl. It's just a snowball fight, not much to it. Make snowball, throw, hit opponents. Once all opponents down, you win. Except for one caveat, the lone player's allies don't count, so neither side has an unfair advantage. Can you guess how I feel about this concept? Yeah, not notable, because again, it's just a snowball fight. But given how fun it is, that's no big deal. You know how it goes. If a minigame is fun enough, it doesn't matter how good or bad its concept is. 52, Dizzy Rotisserie, or as I like to call it, Dizzy Dancing from Mario Party 2 done right. With altered controls, you have to make your way across a room full of Bowser statues. If you reach the exit in time, you win, but if not, you'll get burned by the statue's fire, which means you lose. Finally, I get to talk about concept again. This one's is quite unique. And yes, just plain fun. And yes, racing game. And yes, Bowser standing around watching, I guess? 51, Dunk Bros. So, you know basketball, right? Where you have to keep trying to throw a ball into a hoop to score points, and how when on defense you have to try and steal the ball from the other team, and how the team with the most points when time is up wins, and how that's all there is to it. Concept? Yeah, no. I mean, come on, it's just regular basketball. But even still, it's really fun. Just goes to show, Mario Party can make a fun minigame out of any concept, even without a bunch of crazy gimmicks. 50, Ozone. There are tons of buttons, some of which will have circles on them. They'll then turn off and be spun around, at which point you'll have to ground pound 3 circle buttons. If you can do so before your opponent, you win. So I'll get the obvious out of the way. This one's just plain fun, and I guess the concept is kind of original because ground pounding, but best of all, it takes good memory. I guess you could kind of consider this one a skill-based version of Pound Peril for Mario Party 5. 49, Smash Dance. There's a lot of panels which will keep lighting up. When this happens, you have to ground pound them. You'll get a point for each one with which you do so, and the player with the most points when time is up wins. Just like Ozone, this one is really fun, with an original concept. And yes, I said really fun, so why isn't it higher up on the list? Because you can also ground pound opponents and stun them, which I usually love. But the problem with it here is the stun time is way too long, so it's kind of broken, which of course is gonna hold this minigame back. But even so, I still like it a lot. 48, Money Belt. You have your own conveyor belt with tons of mystery boxes. They'll all pass through an X-ray, revealing what's inside them. You have to remember which ones have coins in them, then when they reach you, open them. And of course, don't open any others. This one's a fun, memory-based coin cache. Talk about unique. Yeah, I know it's kind of slow-paced, but like I've said before, some minigames actually benefit from having slow pacing, and this one's a prime example. 47, Boonanza. You're in a huge arena full of pink boos, and you have to run around and chase as many of them as you can into your goal. The player to catch the most in the time limit wins. And that's it. Again, this one's fun and has an original concept. And that's it. Again, I'm not really sure what else to say. I could say, so many games are good for just a few or even one simple reason, but I've said that so many times already, it probably goes without saying at this point. 46. Pit Boss, or as I like to call it, Ice Rink Risk from Mario Party 3 to the extreme. You're in a small arena into which Bowser will throw 3 huge spiky balls. And, you know, you might want to avoid them unless you have a losing complex or something. If you can survive the whole time, you win. In comparison to Ice Rink Risk, I'm a little conflicted because I find this one much more thrilling and on toe keeping, and not to mention with a more epic concept, but at the same time, this one's luck aspect is a good bit bigger, so I'm not really sure which one I overall prefer, but either way, Pit Boss is a boss. 45. Motown. You're on a grassy lawn and have your own lawnmower. Yeah, I'm sure you know what happens next. Mow as much grass as you can, and the one to have mown the most before time's up wins. Yes, I know it's slow-paced, but like Money Belts, the slow pacing is a good thing here. The concept isn't unique, but kind of interesting, maybe? And I guess it could bring back bad memories for Chore Boys, which is kind of funny. 44. Cash Flow. You're sliding down a water slide, and you want to try to get as many coins as you can while watching out for spiky shells. So yeah, this is a fun coin cache, but it's also really cool how each side has one advantage over the other. The team can cover more ground, but the lone player won't be sidelined if they hit a shell. And for that reason, I don't think I care which side I'm on. Don't go with the flow, go with the cash flow. Oh, I have such a rich sense of humor, don't I? 43. Conveyor Bolt. This is one of 3 minigames that has different rules between day and night. In the day version, the team players are running on a conveyor belt, hence the name, while the lone player, riding a huge cloud hovercraft thingamabobber, must drop huge lightning bolts trying to hit all 3 team players. If they can do so before time expires, they win, but if even one team player can outlast the timer, the team wins. And in the night version, the roles are reversed, but to make things fair for the lone player, the conveyor belt is turned off, and there are no hazards. Both versions are really fun for the attackers, really on toe keeping for the evaders, and really thrilling no matter which side you're on. 42. Sink or Swim. The team is swimming underwater, and the lone player must keep dropping mines. If a team player gets hit by one, they're out, and if they all get ousted before time expires, the lone player wins. But if at least one of them can outlast the timer, they win. Like a lot of other 1v3s, this one is mad fun for the lone player, mad on toe keeping for the team, and mad thrilling for everybody. And the concept is pretty cool. I also like how the team players have to keep resurfacing for air. 41. Blooper Scooper. You're trapped in a whirlpool, which Cooper bloopers in the center of. You have to keep swimming to avoid getting sucked in, dodging hazards like barrels, crates, and GB's tentacles. If you do get sucked in, you lose, but if you can outlast the other players or the timer, you win. Try and guess what I like about this one. Is it A, super fun, B, super on toe keeping, C, with a super epic and original concept, or D, all the above? If you answered D, all the above, congratulations, you are correct. 40. Pop Star. You're just inflating a balloon until it pops. The lone player does so by button mashing, and the team by ground pounding on pumps. The first side to pop their balloon wins. Good old balloon poppin'. Nothing's more fun than that, right? But seriously though, it's really cool how both sides have to complete the same task, but through different methods. And for that reason, the concept is actually decent. Yeah, I know it's just plain old balloon poppin', but still, overall, Pop Star is the star of the show. 39. Garden Grab. Each team is pulling a giant carrot out of the ground. To do so, you have to press several specified buttons, then mash one final one. The first team to get their carrot out wins. So you know me, right? And how I love button pushing games and mashers. And let's not forget ones that take good teamwork. And furthermore, nice and simple ones. And further still, ones with meh concepts. Wait, what was that last one? Look, the bottom line is, Garden Grab is great. 38. Booed off the stage. You're in a big field across which tons of huge boos will fly. If one touches you, you lose. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Nice and simple, but at the same time, mad thrilling, on toe keeping, and fun. And its concept is both epic and original. I might like it more if it were a free-for-all instead of a duel, but regardless, awesome minigame. Booed off the stage takes the stage. Yeah, I'll get off the stage now. 37. Molet. This is another one with differing rules between day and night. In the day version, you're under a bunch of pipes out of which Monty moles and piranha plants will emerge. You have to jump to hit the moles and avoid the plants. You'll get points for each mole you hit, and the team with the most points when time is up wins. And at night, it's pretty much the same thing, only you're standing atop the pipes now and have to ground pound instead. While both versions are really good, I think I have to give the slight edge to the night one, because it's a bit of a better challenge. But no matter which version you're playing, Molet is really fun and has an original concept. It's also pretty on toe keeping, especially the night version. 36. T-5. You have 5 panels, which when they light up green, you have to ground pound them one by one. Sounds easy, right? Well, maybe, until you realize the glow sequence gets faster and faster the more you progress. The first one to get all 5 hits wins. Obviously, this one takes good timing, so more obviously, I love it. And less obviously, its concept is unique, clever, and interesting. I'll admit, one could argue that the last hit is luck-based, because at that point, the sequence becomes mad fast. But that's just one very minor flaw. All the good things about T-5 make me love it. 35. Control Stick. The players must repeatedly point both their hands in specific directions, with any player failing to do so being eliminated. The last player standing wins. This one is thrilling, and, since it progressively speeds up, very challenging, with an interesting concept of using both the GameCube controller's joysticks at once. And I mentioned it speeds up, right? It can speed up so much, in fact, that your input time window can end up being a fraction of a second, literally. 34. Note to self. You're in a room with 3 floating musical orbs, I guess one might call them. You have to keep bumping into them. Each time you do so, you'll get 1 point, and the one with the most points when time is up wins. This one's concept isn't really noteworthy. Get it? But even so, it's really fun and frantic. It's also really cool how you can bound off opponents to reach orbs higher up. 33. Cashapult. Each team has their own seesaw, and with it, must launch each other upward to grab as many coins as they can. Each team gets 4 jumps, 2 per teammate. This coin cache is really fun and one of a kind, i.e., its concept is very interesting, and it requires good teamwork, maybe? Actually, not really, but that just proves that 2v2s, and I guess 1v3s too, don't always have to require good teamwork to be awesome. 32. Pixel Perfect. Well, basically, a 2v2 version of Smash Dance. Each team has their own pixel board, atop which they must ground pound the pixels to make their board the same pattern as the one in the middle. First team to do so gets 1 point, and first to 2 points wins. If you ask me, this one's quite better than Smash Dance for a number of reasons. It's more fun, a better challenge, takes good teamwork, has a more interesting concept, and finally, the OP ground pound with a ridiculously long stun time doesn't matter as much here. Pixel Perfect is pretty perfect. 31. Memory Lane. Have you seen Squid Game? If so, this minigame is basically the same thing as the second last game, but in case you have no derping idea what I'm talking about, a Shy Guy will walk across a path of glass panels, and you have to memorize the path he took, and walk that same path yourself. If you step on a panel that wasn't in Shy Guy's path, you'll fall and lose time, but if you get to the end first, you win. Oh, how I love games that require good memory, and like I implied earlier, it reminds me of Squid Game. In fact, I wonder if one of the writers grew up playing Mario Party 6, and this was their favorite minigame. If that is the case, that's really cool. 30. Snow World. The players take turns snowboarding down a ramp, and once airborne, must perform spins by pressing the A, B, Y, and X buttons in that order as fast as possible. The player who performs the most spins before landing wins. This one is just plain fun and requires lots of button pushing, and it also has quite a unique and clever concept. I know a lot of people love this one, and heck, some even deem it their favorite, but personally, I think it's overrated. Just a bit. But even so, I love it too. 29. Gondola Glide. Each team rides their own, wait for it, gondola across the skies. You do so by mashing, having to switch between the A and B buttons all the while. The first team to reach the finish wins. Gondola Glide's a racing game. Gondola Glide's a masher. Gondola Glide is really fun. Gondola Glide has a likable concept. Gondola Glide is awesome for a lot of reasons. Gondola Glide is easily 29th place. If I say you know what one more time, are your ears gonna fall off? 28. Catch You Letter. You're in a small arena into which tons of enveloped letters will keep raining down. You have to pick them up and hand them to the panicking mail guy. You'll get points each time you do so, and the one with the most when time is up wins. This one has a clever, unique, interesting, and even funny concept, and it's really fun, thrilling, and mad frantic. Admittedly, it can be a little too difficult at times, since sometimes the mail guy can be hard to make contact with, but all the great things about this minigame make me love it, if you catch my drift. 27. Circuit Maximus. This one could be described as a racing version of shock absorbers from Mario Party 5. You're running through a circuit track full of amps, which, duh, you want to avoid. If you touch one, you'll get stunned, and first to complete 1 lap wins. I already said the word race, right? So, yeah. But other than that, it's also very fun and on toe-keeping. And the concept? Yes, original and epic. I'm not sure if I prefer this one or shock absorbers, but what's really important is they both rock. 26. Star Sprints. One player must run a star across a long path, using the microphone to input commands to proceed past obstacles. Meanwhile, the other 3 help the star-wielding player out in certain places. If you can set a new record, you win. This one is just plain fun with a clever, epic, and unique concept. It also requires good teamwork, which is a durr for a co-op, and makes great use of the microphone. It's obviously more fun for the player with the star, but there is still plenty of fun to be had for the helpers as well. 25. Cog Jog. You're in a room full of twisting gears, atop which you have to run and jump, being careful not to fall off, since if you do, you'll have to start over from the beginning. The first one to get to the finish wins. Racing games, I love those things. You should know that by now. And also, the concept is pretty clever, and on top of that, it's also a good challenge, especially since the thwomp can keep changing the cog's spin directions. 24. Full Tilt. This one's kind of similar to Cog Jog, except now you're racing on your own long, flat, narrow, tilting trail. Again, you want to try not to fall, since if you do, you'll have to start over from the beginning. Or if you've reached it, the midway point. First to the end wins. I think this one is slightly better than Cog Jog for a few reasons. 1, it's a better challenge. 2, it lasts longer. And 3, you have your own path now. In my opinion, all that makes Full Tilt more fun. 23. Word Herd. The team is in a small arena with a bunch of Goombas, all of whom they must try to punch out of the arena, while the lone player, using the microphone, must try to protect the Goombas by telling them which way to run. If the team can knock them all out before time expires, they win, but if not, the lone player wins. No matter which side you're on, this minigame is a great time for everybody. Super thrilling for the team, and super good use of the microphone for the lone player. And the concept? Awesome, clever, and unique. Word Herd is the word. You heard me? Sorry. 22. Asteroid Rage. Each player's riding their own spaceship across Saturn's asteroid belt. You have to dodge the asteroids by moving left and right, since if you hit one, you lose. The last one standing wins. Or, if both players outlast the timer, it's a tie. Talk about a clever and epic concept. Also talk about nice and simple and on toe keeping. And also talk about racing games, because, you know, I never talk about those things and how much I love them. Talk about a big who knew surprise. 21. Talkie Walkie. The lone player, using the microphone, must make their way along a path to the treasure chest at the end. If they can do so, they win, but if they fall off, get hit by a spiny thrown by a team player, or don't make it in time, the team wins. This one makes pretty good use of the microphone, but most of all, it's really fun for the team, really on toe keeping for the lone player, and really thrilling for everyone. Talk about a... Oh, I really should have saved that talk about bit for this one. 20. Surge and Destroy. The lone player's controlling an orb of electricity and must try to hit all 3 team players with it. If they can do so in the time limit, they win, but if even one team player can survive the entire time, the team wins. This is another 1v3, so you can probably guess how I feel about it. Fun for the lone player, on toe keeping for the team, and thrilling for everyone. And its concept is, yes, epic. 19. Balldozers. Each side's in their own pinball machine, and the lone player's got a big ball, while the team has an enormous one. Using hammers, players have to keep smashing pegs until their ball falls in the slot at the bottom. The first side whose ball does so wins. To be honest, this one is conceptually not very special, but that's no big deal, because I find it very fun, and for the team, it takes good teamwork, communication, and synchronization. And bonus, I don't think I care which side I'm on. When you play Balldozers, you're guaranteed to have a ball. Yeah, okay, just go doze off now. 18. Dark and Crispy. The players are in a poorly lit arena with Bowser, whom they must avoid, both him and his fire breath. Getting hit by either results in elimination, and any player to outlast their opponents or the timer wins. Although a bit lacking in concept, this one is quite fun, and even more on toe keeping, especially since the darkness makes Bowser hard to see. And I guess it kind of can be a good challenge, because again, the darkness, that, and the arena is kind of small. 17. Daft Rafts. All 4 players must run and jump across several different types of platforms, being careful not to fall in the river below, as well as to avoid either spinies or lava bubbles, depending on whether you're playing during the day or at night. Any player who does so is eliminated, while any player to make it to the final raft wins. This one is on toe keeping, nerve-wracking, and surprisingly challenging. And that's all it really has going for it. No need to get all daft about it. 16. Burn Style. Each team is standing atop their own platform over lava, and they have to keep jumping to dodge a spiky turnstile. If it hits you, you're out, and the last one standing wins it for their team. So yeah, no teamwork involved, but like I said earlier, not all 2v2s have to incorporate teamwork to be good. And besides, this one is seriously thrilling and on toe keeping with an epic concept. And a little bonus, it's nice and simple too. Oh, and even bigger bonus, it gets harder and harder since the burn style keeps spinning faster and faster. Burn style's style burns, so that burns, doesn't it? 15. Insectoride. Players take turns choosing insect vehicles, then they have to race them. Each one requires different button commands to move, and the first to cross the finish line wins. If you somehow still don't know how I feel about racing games, you don't even know your own name. And this is a really unique kind of race, i.e. I like the somewhat clever concepts. And side note, I'm happy with any vehicle. 14. Fruit Talktail. The team players are atop several platforms with different fruits on them. The lone player with the mic will say one of these fruits, at which point the team players have to find and get on a platform that has that same fruit on it, because all the other platforms will fall down, and if a team player falls down too, they're out. If at least one of them can survive the entire time, they win, but if not, the lone player wins. This one's definitely not fun for the lone player, on toe keeping for the team, and thrilling for everybody, and no way is its concept unique or clever. If you believe any of that, you're a fruitcake. 13. Shoot your mouth off. The lone player, with the mic, must deploy enemies to attack the team players. If they can get all of them before time expires, they win, but if not, the team wins. Let me think about this for a second. It's another 1v3 where the lone player has to try to oust all 3 team players, so I think that might mean it's fun for the lone player, on toe keeping for the team, and thrilling for everyone. And I think the concept might also be really funny, and just go by word of mouth. 12. Verbal Assault. The lone player's commandeering a battleship and, once again, using the microphone, must drain the team player's health by launching attacks toward their smaller mechs. Meanwhile, the team must do the same to the lone player, albeit only the lone player gets to use the microphone. The first side to deplete all of the opposition's health wins. This one is very fun with an epic concept, and I prefer to be the lone player since the battleship has much more and cooler attacks. There you go, Mario Party 6, now you're getting concepts right! 11. Dusk Till Dawn. Each side has their own room. The lone player, a small one, and the team, a big one, with a lot of dust. Using feather dusters, you have to get rid of all that dust. The side that does so first wins. Yeah, no special concepts, although, like in Motown, it could bring back bad memories for chore boys. But what really matters here is how incredibly fun and nice and simple it is. And bonus, for the team, it takes good teamwork, communication, and synchronization. 10. crate, and peril. The lone player has a magic box and must tilt it around in an attempt to make the spiny shells hit all 3 team players. If he or she can do so within the time limit, he or she wins. But if even one team player can outlast the timer, the team wins. For the lone player, this one is fun. And for the team, on toe keeping. And either way, its concept is both clever and funny. Man, is it just me, or does Mario Party 6 have a lot of great 1v3s? 9. Mass Meteor. The players are swimming through outer space and must weave around asteroids. Hitting one will slow them down quite a bit, and the first player to cross the finish line wins. I really like this one's clever and unique concept, and it's very fun and requires good focus. And, oh, racing games, oh, how I love you, racing games. Mass Meteor is a massively great minigame. Damn it. 8. Rocky Road. Each team is driving on their own long road, which is filled to the brim with huge boulders, which the players must repeatedly attack by punching or kicking them until they crumble away. The first team to smash all the rocks and reach the finish line wins the minigame. This minigame requires good teamwork, cooperation, and coordination. It's also a load of fun, with a pretty unique and kind of epic concept. Also, I love fighting games. Boy, who'd have thunk it? But there is one small problem. If you attack your teammate by mistake, it takes them very long to recover. If not for that, I know for a fact I'd like it more. But even so, I still love it a lot. And so, Rocky Road rocks the house. 7. Jump the gun. There's a long path of targets at which one teammate must keep shooting bullet bills to make a path for the other teammate to jump across. The first jumper to reach the finish wins the minigame for their team. So you've played Mario before, right? And you know how he always jumps around? So yeah, what I'm saying is, with that and the bullet bill aspect, this minigame's concept is very original, and to a lesser extent, unique and epic. And even disregarding that, it's very fun. Jump the gun, more like jump the fun. Too bad I'm not funny. 6. Clean Team. Each team has their own building with conspicuously dirty windows. One teammate must spray them, then the other has to wipe it down. The first team to clean all their windows wins. This one's got a pretty clever concept, but that's just gravy. It's mad fun and takes good teamwork, communication, and synchronization. Yeah, I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? Anyway, never play dirty, always play clean. Oh, is that how the windows got so dirty? From all the tomatoes you've thrown at me? 5. What goes up? This is the last one where the gameplay changes between day and night. In the daytime version, there are tons of paratroopers, which you must keep jumping on to get as much vertical as possible, while, of course, trying not to fall down and lose progress. The one to jump the highest distance wins. And in the nighttime version, you start at the top and have to fall all the way to the bottom, dodging paratroopers and clouds along the way. The first one to reach the bottom wins it. The daytime version's really fun, but the nighttime one, insanely fun, and both versions are on toe keeping as well. What goes up need not come down. 4. Pokey Punch-Out. You're in a desert, and a bunch of Pokies will keep popping up. And guess what you have to do? Punch them? Why would you think that? Just because the name is Pokey Punch-Out? Oh, so literal. But you know what? For your sake, I'll just play along and humor you. You want to punch as many Poke body segments as you can, because you'll score a point for each one you do. The one with the most points when time expires wins. You're probably thinking I love this minigame because I love fighting games, and also that I love the epic and original concept. And boy, you could not be more wrong. Or could you? Beats me. 3. Lift Leapers. You have your own obstacle course full of moving platforms. Wait, how do you win again? I mean, this is a Mario game, and Mario's known for his platforming games, and always jumping around, and going inside pipes and all that, and usually the way these games work is you have to be the first one to reach the finish to win, and I'm pretty sure said games are known for being really fun, and on toe-keeping, and also having original concepts in this context. I'm not totally sure if I'm on the mark with all that, so let's just assume that I am. 2. Wrestling Rapids. The players are on a raft fighting each other. Fall in the water when you lose, but be the last one standing and you win. Oh, and side note, watch out for hazards thrown by enemies. Just a nice and simple fighting game. What else do I have to say? You do remember how much I love fighting games, right? And also fun, thrilling, on-toe-keeping games? And also games with epic concepts? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've said enough. And enough is enough. 1. Granite Getaway. You're in a cave running from a gigantic rolling boulder. Along the way, there's hazards to avoid, like debris on the ground and bottomless pits. If you get squashed by the boulder or fall down a pit, you lose, but if you can make it all the way to the end, you win. So let's analyze this minigame for a second. It's extremely fun, thrilling, on toe-keeping, exhilarating, epic, good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, phenomenal, cool, superb, stellar. I can't think of any more synonyms. So yeah, short, sweet, and to the point. This minigame is pretty much perfect. There's not one thing I dislike about it. Well, if I really wanted to be nitpicky, I guess I could complain about how the concept is unoriginal, since, you know, Indiana Jones. But that's nothing to cry over. For how epic it is in literally every other aspect, Granite Getaway is easily my #1 favorite Mario Party 6 minigame. Never take it for granted. Oh, get away from me with those tomatoes! So there you have it, my ranking of every Mario Party 6 minigame. For more videos like this, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, please check out my social media. All links are in the description. A sextuple thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Mikoro out.